having her by my side with all the positivity that she has was really helpful when we separated and I went out to do the real estate investing on my own. Like I was, nervous and wasn't saying I wasn't confident, but I was definitely having my doubts, and she was just being her. And she's like, those guys, like, they don't know what they're talking about. Like, you got this, you'll figure it out. Like you always have. And then my first full year of real estate investing, I netted about $1 million. So she was definitely right.
On the show, we're going to sit down and talk about the metamorphosis that happens when you become a leader.
We'll share our biggest wins and our losses and interview other leaders to find out how they stay in charge without losing their minds.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Zach. Welcome to the Who's in Charge podcast. All right, what is up, everybody? Thank you so much. We are so excited to have Jesse and Erin on today. A lot of you probably know Jesse and the story of Batch, or at least are familiar with the product, and has had an incredible amount of growth and success with that. Congratulations for that. And really excited to have Erin on to kind of talk about a little bit of the other side of that, right? Like, what does it actually take to grow into that? What's some of the cost as we go along the way? And so thank you for both of you coming on. And great spot to start is probably, where did you all start? Where did you guys meet? And a little bit about your love story.
I love to have the other half / better half, on the show. This is nice. This is nice.
Yeah, she does it.
But yeah, tell us how you guys met. How did this whole thing start?
Go ahead, Erin.
Oh my God, all the pressure on me. I gotta go now. So we met on a dating app called Tinder. My first try.
Oh, a Tinder app. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. What, 10 years ago?
It was 10 years ago in May. We met on there, and it was like my first year full-time wholesaling, having my real estate license when I met her. I remember like bragging to her like on our third date, because I had $30,000 in my bank account, and I could never be so proud. So she's got
hot shit.
Yeah.
She's got to be a part of all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's been an absolutely wild journey, and I couldn't have got to where I was at without her.
That's what's so interesting about like doing double dates like this is the whole, like, building a company is hard. Building a family and a company affects every single person involved. Like no matter how big your business is, this is a family business, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love being a part of the whole journey together. I think, like Stephanie and I, we talk about that a lot for our relationship, is it's nice that we've kind of went through it all. We tell the story all the time to each other. Like when I signed her onto my bank account, we weren't even married yet. There was thousands of dollars in there. It might have been
I think
four
there was like
figures.
$2,000.
I think there was
$2,000 in there. Yeah. And we were just engaged at the time. And I was like, you're just going to put me on his bank account?
That's funny.
Right?
And then just to be able to go and grow through life together, I think has been superly helpful for our relationship to go through those ups and downs, and how we've kind of supported each other and through those. Sorry to interrupt you. Beautiful.
No, I was going to say, I think it's wonderful to have met kind of at the beginning and build together. I wonder, thinking about meeting somebody later on, like maybe post-exit, like Batch has subsequently exited, and like you've actually grown a couple other businesses from where you were then. Yeah. I wonder, like, imagine having a Tinder date then and like trying to establish trust. I feel like that'd be harder.
Yeah. And the thing was, as well as, when we met, I was a lot of pounds heavier as well. So, I was the fat dude with the pretty girl at that time. So they just probably assumed I had money, I'm guessing, before I even did.
Only 30,000.
But he's going places, Erin. He's going places. What were you doing at the time, Erin?
I worked for Saks full time. I used to be managing one of the Saks outlets. So I've been there. I worked there for 18 years.
So you guys met on Tinder, and then like, what was your first impression date? Was it love at first sight? Was it, what did I get myself into with this person?
He was not my type.
No.
He was not my type. He looks not like the picture. I got catfish, pretty much.
Kath.
A little bit.
Jesse.
But like a true salesman, he's a closer and a charmer. So how did he charm you out? How did he turn you?
I was a little skinnier, I'd say,
in the picture
than she saw. I wasn't like at my heaviest. She helped get me there. We can talk about that later.
Oh God.
But no, it was I mean, I was just intrigued with the energy that she brings and like the breath of life that she brings into every room. So I was like instantly just attracted to her personality, and she could talk about what she liked about me.
I mean, actually, you never seen that picture. I actually had sunglasses the whole time on my Tinder profile picture.
Yeah, I was just kind of guessing.
You never seen my face.
Yeah, it was
Like
like
my face is covered.
Yeah, it was interesting. She's so interesting and
Too scared.
authentically herself. I was like, I at least got to go meet this girl. So
Yeah.
it was interesting. And the date was a dinner, and it turned into going and getting wine at a wine bar after. So we were together for like 6 or 7 hours, our first date. So one date turned into two, and she's always been a better drinker than me. And I was starting to slur my words, and I was like, it's probably time for me to go before I make an ass out of myself. And that was our first date.
7 hours later.
Love it. But it was good enough for date 2.
Yeah.
Well, take us through a little bit of the business journey.
Yeah. So when I met her, I was just starting. So what was that? 2015?
16.
16. So yeah, I was like a year and a half, a couple years into getting into real estate. And it was interesting. I was just, never made any money, and I was about 30 years old, and I was just finally starting to catch, a rhythm, had 2 partners, and they ended up started dating, and that relationship or that business partnership kind of soured. So having her by my side with all the positivity that she has was really helpful when we separated and I went out to do the real estate investing on my own. Like I was, nervous and, wasn't saying I wasn't confident, but I was definitely having my doubts, and she was just being her. And she's like, those guys, like, they don't know what they're talking about. Like, you got this, you'll figure it out. Like you always have. And then, my first full year of real estate investing, I netted about $1 million. So she was definitely right.
I love that. I love that level of support kind of behind. I was thinking about that coming in here, and like the idea of like the other half and the support that they can sometimes see things inside of us that we don't necessarily see or we question, right? Like you start to have some of those doubts, and like to have somebody by your side that says like, no, like I see what's inside of you, and help kind of pull that out. I think that's amazing to have.
Yeah, she's been along it the whole way. When we started Batch, came to her with this crazy idea I had about phone numbers, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And then, getting to meet Annie and Evo, and we've had a ton of dinners with them, and they have great spouses as well. So, I mean, it takes a village to really grow something, as you guys know, and Stephanie, what you're building, and you've taken on money. I didn't have that type of pressure either. Definitely the pressure to grow and sell, but when people are investing into your business too, that brings a whole different responsibility that I'm sure, Zach, you feel that stress on occasion.
He's seen me with tears in my eyes plenty of time with the pressure. Just this morning was one of them. I'm just like, I need to go sit outside and take a moment. But like, I want to go back to kind of that point where you were, because I think this is super interesting. And of course we relate to it, so much. You're running a real estate investment business. You kind of had this partnership break, right? And like reboot by yourself. That went really well. And you see this other, the industry, the pain of doing that. And then you have this idea on the software side, to grow a software company out of the real estate investment company. Obviously I relate a lot to that, having done the same thing with Betters Homes, and then Better Path Homes, and then Left Main, which has been interesting. But walk us through like that decision and looking at and measuring that opportunity and launching now with partners again and related partners. Like, how did you evaluate that opportunity? And then how did you look at that partnership and bring what you learned from your other partnership into that one now with Annie and Evo, which, spoiler alert for those of you listening, big exit here recently. So obviously it went well, and I want to take all the little goods out of that we can. Yeah.
So when we started Batch, we both had our own wholesale operations, which was interesting. And we were just kind of helping each other. And then me and Evo kind of cooked up Batch Skip Tracing, our first product, or he cooked it up actually. And then I was like, hey, I need data again. I lost TLO at the time, and we're doing primarily cold calling. So he's like, yeah, just use it and then let me know what you think. And it was great. And, from there I'm much more networked than he is. And I was like, well, I have some friends that are having, similar problems. And then, we just kind of started doing something, but it blew up pretty quickly to where 2 months in, we kind of knew.
What year is this?
2018.
Okay. So 2016-ish, you're 15, 16, you're wholesaling. 2018, now the opportunity with batch skip.
Yeah. With batch skip tracing came along, and they knew that I had a partnership that didn't go right. And it wasn't anything that was awful. They started dating. They're now married with 2 kids. So I'm very happy for them. We're still good friends, but like they wanted to do some stuff on their own and then still have the wholesale business. And it was like, hey, you can't do real estate investing and then real estate invest on the side separately. I was like, that doesn't work. They're like, well, it's not office hours. I'm like, then I could go source my own deals too. Like, why are we even working together? So we just had to part our ways. And then I was nervous with Annie and Evo because now I'm dealing with siblings, not someone dating. And I was really nervous to where we kind of dated for 9 months till we really decided to solidify the partnership. And my one rule.
What does that mean? Digging a little like deeper there. Like, what do you mean dating? How did you do that?
We just
without being all in.
We just had a JV agreement basically of like, hey, we're doing this together. And so we didn't have any formal LLCs with all the operating agreements, all that stuff. We really just wanted to see it was a fit. We could have both just used the same data source, went our separate ways if that was the route that we wanted to go. It was a long dating period. And like my one stipulation when we did combine, because we combined the wholesale companies and then solidified batch skip tracing and batch leads at that time, was my one rule because of what happened last time was if we do anything together, we do everything together. So if there's any side ventures, we all get paid on it. And that was my one rule, and they were completely fine with it. And I was taking a bigger loss because there was 2 of them, and I was running a bigger wholesale operation than they were. So I knew I was going to lose money here, but I knew the upside that we had for batch. And we ended up shutting down the real estate investing company in 2020. I don't know how the hell you run both. But we just decided to just be the data provider for the space instead of competing against, a lot of people that were using our product. It was just easier for us to do it that way and be singly focused on trying to grow, build, and exit, which, thank the Lord, we're able to do.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations on the focus. I think that is the key to success. You follow your passion, you follow the opportunity, but then you focus on it. I think the only reason why we're able to do 2 different things is because Zach focuses on that company and then I focus on this company on left main side. So it is a full-time plus gig each to run each of these companies. So I think it's good that you guys didn't fall into that trap.
She left me over here taking grenades.
Yeah, it is.
Just like,
Beast.
you go build those houses.
They're different problems. I think operationally, just the ebbs and flows of deals, real estate investing is just more stressful. But on the software side, growing and dealing with churn, it's a different type of stress. But I feel like it's easier to solve, not easier, but like you could figure out ways to solve those problems. Like you can't solve a problem of someone that ghosts you on a house you're supposed to buy and you have to go sue them. And that just constantly happens with the more deals that you do. So I think, Zach, amen to you, because it's a tough grind to do for a long time.
It's funny. I feel like the grass is always greener on the other side. Sometimes like, I wish I had those problems over there. When I was working full time, it actually kept me pretty well grounded because I would be like, when you're complaining about one aspect of entrepreneurship, you'd, go get the benefit over, in your W-2. But then when you'd complain about your W-2, you'd come back and get that. So it kept me grounded for a while. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. I think it's interesting because we talked about focus, and I think you did a great decision there, right? Of focusing in on, all right, we're going to have batch, but even amongst batch, you had multiple products, right? That you guys have kind of dove into. And how do you go through that process of determining like, all right, this is an opportunity versus this is a distraction?
We made a lot. It was stupid how we set it up. We weren't software people, so we didn't know what we were doing. We're just like, all right, well, we have skip tracing. Well, we need lists, and texting became popular. So we're going to create batch leads and a place to store all your data. And then well, people are calling too, and everyone's going to Mojo. Why not build something? And I wish we would have built it all in one hub with one subscription and made it a lot more unified, because we had 3 different marketing websites. We had people confused on what products they were on. Lots of mistakes from just not knowing, but how it all worked out to where we're able to piece off and sell batch leads and batch dialer to PropStream and then still keep batch data and be able to go sell that. It actually probably worked out to where we're going to make more money ultimately. But if we could do it all over again, I would definitely change kind of how that whole ecosystem worked.
Yeah. Well, before I have a follow-up question to that, but before I do that, Erin, what did you think about the pivot? Are you still working full time at this point too? And how did you interpret that risk?
When did I start working? Zayden, like, with our son.
Yeah.
I mean, I was working, when you were with Evo and Annie. I was nervous for him too. Because, like you got hurt from last relationship. You're like, do you want to do this again?
Yeah.
And then, like you said, brother and sisters. You're like, I'm not sure how it will work out. But, I mean, he knows. He works with them. And we really like them. And, they're, like you said, their spouse, like their partners were nice. And then, they're kind of like a family.
Yeah. They're Eastern European and like
a big old family, European friends. All their friends are from, Europe.
Eastern Europe. So just like the culture and how those people act and how inviting
Stick
they
together.
were into just when we're going to parties with them and a bunch of their friends, you just saw the type of people that they're around, and I knew it was a good thing. And I feel like Erin felt that too, but she stopped working when we had Zayden. We actually had a pretty big fight about it beforehand, because I was like, you're not going to want to work. She's like, I'm going to want to work. And then, she loves being a mom. If she wanted to go back to work, we could, but you could kind of talk about transitioning from, working full time and being a manager and overseeing 50, 60 people to overseeing one crazy kid every day.
Imagine it takes the same skill set, right? It's either 50 people or a toddler is just as difficult, maybe harder.
I mean, it's not so bad, actually. I mean, I feel like I kept myself pretty busy. I was afraid like I'll be so bored at home with the baby. Then, he was little.
Yeah.
But apparently I can keep myself pretty busy.
And how do you keep yourself busy? Like, talk about all the stuff
Oh
you
my
do every day.
God. Oh my God. All the stuff I do every day. Like when he's a baby or now?
Just in general.
In general. I mean, we did play dates. I joined this mom group about 3 months after postpartum. So we met all this mom that we all had a baby around like a month with each other. So we want to do like stuff together. We'll go to a little indoor playground that kids can crawl around, go chew each other's toys. So become friends with those ladies. And our baby grow together. So we have problems, issues with our group chat. We'll like, vent about, my son had a sleep regression. Somebody's teething. Somebody's crazy. So that can be busy.
Yeah.
That's my new full-time job, my new focus.
But she's just always doing things, and she figures out, she's going to hot yoga 4 times a week. She's always running to play dates. And then our son, because of her, speaks fluent Mandarin. So he's completely bilingual. And we have him in a school that, speaks a lot of Mandarin as well as,
Trilingual.
Yeah, like a trilingual school. So she's been really good at really owning that side, owning kind of his development. And then I knew that she'd be fine not working because she doesn't watch TV and she's like a busybody. So she just find things to do to always be busy. And a lot of it is just making sure our son has great experiences. He's so spoiled to where if we don't go somewhere, like she doesn't leave the house, he's like,
What's our plan today?
what's our plan today every day? Because
What's the plan in the morning? What's the plan after nap? We got two sides.
How old?
he's almost 4,
4. Nice.
but he has to nap
no,
because they play so much.
That's awesome, and like super busy, and can it takes everything. And if I remember right, you guys don't have local family, right?
No, my parents live a mile away. I retired them. And then
Oh,
her
okay.
mom, her parents live in Taiwan, but her mom has been here basically 3 of the 4 years, and she doesn't speak English. So it's been a challenge for me, but she's nice. And that's why our son is so good at Mandarin, is because you have Erin and her mom literally speaking Mandarin all day. And then I get home, I'm like, yo, like, I don't know what you're saying. Please tell me.
How come you haven't learned Mandarin?
I was just going to ask
know,
if you'd
right?
I've
learned.
learned a little bit. I know a little bit, but it's just I don't know. I'm growing a bunch of businesses and don't have a ton of free.
A few words
Yeah.
with the airplane, and you count 1, 2, 3 when they yell at Zayden. I'm gonna count to 3 and he'll count for him.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. That's good. I know I'm bad at that with that too. So I speak Norwegian, and I really only speak Norwegian to my family, you know? And when we first had
By family, you mean not me.
my mom, right? Not you,
Yeah.
right? Like my mom and dad. And so when Zach and I got together, I was like, I want to teach you Norwegian. And he learned a little bit. And then we had our first baby. And I was like, I wanted to teach her Norwegian, and I was talking to her a little bit. And then I would always go back to English with Zach, right? Because like it's quicker, right? And then if you don't have somebody else all the time to talk to, it's really hard to get your kid to learn and like in a decent way. So Zach dropped the ball a little bit too on learning the language. It's okay.
Why
You're
is it
pretty
all
good.
on me?
You're pretty.
Ja, ikke
Well,
snakke
no.
norsk.
You just said I don't
Hey.
speak Norwegian.
I know, because I don't. Moving on.
Moving on. I think the language is really cool. I think it's one of the most important things that you can teach your kids. And especially, I mean, Mandarin is way more relevant than Norwegian. There's only like 5 million people in the world that speak that versus Mandarin. So good
Yeah,
for
like
you.
a billion plus.
That's amazing.
But it was
Yeah,
weird. When I first
exactly.
went to Jesse, I barely speak, Mandarin to anybody besides my family. And then I see my family only once in a while, or my parents, talk to them on the phone. But then now, like, I speak all the time. Now I look at Jesse, I'll start speaking Chinese to him, and I'm like, oh, sorry, you're not dating.
Maybe I'll force him to learn.
I pick up on some words. I try. As I said, I'm so busy with all the stuff I have going on still that it's just not a priority yet. But I want to learn, and he'll teach me.
I'll
So.
teach you.
Well, that's why it's such a blessing to grow up like that, because now your son will learn language and adapt that way quicker. Like, I think it's so unfortunate that in the US, like, we only speak really one language well. Like, there's some traditional education on Spanish or French, but it's nowhere like it is anywhere else in the world. And then therefore, like, the folks that are growing up here, it's just really hard to pick up language, right? It's just like, I'm sure it's the same for you, Erin, for your family that's still overseas. But like my family that grew up in Europe, like they all speak like 5 languages, not just one other one, right? Because they're just around it all the time.
Yeah.
So you guys are in like a really big growth period of life, right? I mean, you're trying to grow these businesses, sold one, trying to grow more, and then growing the family life as well. Like, how do you guys balance that if Jesse's gone and focused on kind of building those, and Erin's trying to build this young gentleman? How do you guys still focus on kind of like the family whole of like setting time together? Or
You go. Don't look at me.
I'd say it's tough, and it's a balance, and I've learned that you have seasons, in life. But I've always told my wife that, I want to grow a family with you, but I chose you, and like we have to come first. So we're really good, and we have a lot of help with my parents and
My mom.
her mom here, to where, I mean, we're going on a date night almost every week. We were pretty good for a little while, going on doing some fun dates, and we need to get back to doing that. We just did Legoland with our son. That wasn't really just the two of us, but we just did that and got home last night
Yep.
from that, and that was a blast. But it's just knowing that, we come first, and then I feel like all of that kind of carries over to like your kids and your family, seeing how you treat each other, and how it's important for you guys for us to have a strong relationship and be there for each other, and that we're kissing and hugging and showing affection, because they pay attention to every little thing that you do. So it's just really important I think, to do some of those things.
Now we've got our kids cringing like, oh, dad, mom, the teenagers. Yeah. So I think this is really interesting, because you built batch skip tracing and batch leads kind of as you went and as you learned. And now here you are building a company again, building batch data and scaling that. And then you have another venture that I want to give you an opportunity to talk about too. Meanwhile, have been married 10 years or so. You've learned a lot in that decade of doing the first business and exit, and then like trying to figure out how to have a healthy family life and marriage. Now that you're into the second chapter, if you will, of like business growth, what have you brought to that? Like, are you approaching that differently than you did the first time around? And like, what's different?
I'd say it's probably a little bit more strategic, to where I'm building it to put the right leadership in place to where I don't want to be doing the grindy work, every day. Like I do want some more family time, but we're growing batch at a pretty incredible clip right now, but we have good leadership in place. So it's just not a crazy amount of hours. And I was just feeling a little lost, I guess, of just like, and just being in the real estate space and the same thing for so long. I was looking for kind of what was next or what else I could do. And, I found, building a life insurance agency, and I don't want to go into like the details of that, but that kind of spoke to me in the next chapter of kind of like what I wanted, how the business model worked, and how I could really impact people. Because having an agency model for life insurance is everyone's 1099 under you, so I don't have to have any employees. But I also didn't want to like coach and be like a big coach influencer. So I'm really able to help people build a business in a box, teach them how to be a small business owner. And then if they do well, I get rewarded. So I really just like the aspects of all those things. And then diving in and learning a new industry. Their tech's really shitty. So there's a play that I'm going to be focusing on there on the tech side. And that rejuvenated me even more to put more time and energy into batch and learning some things to where I could put that into the B2B software company for the real estate stuff. And I've probably been working more than I had worked in a while, but so much more purpose driven to where it's just seasons. But when we sold, I took a victory lap and I took my foot off the pedal, and I needed a break to just kind of like decompress all of it. But she saw me. I was bored and I was restless, and you could tell I wasn't fulfilled. And I've learned from exiting that the fulfillment doesn't come from the money. It comes from the purpose and impact that you're making to people. And I just have to find the balance of that, of making sure that that doesn't overtake too much to where I'm now neglecting my family, which is the most important. So it is this push and pull and give and take of like trying to ebb and flow everything together. But it's just a challenge that I think I'll forever have. And then she will absolutely let me know if they're not getting enough time, and I'll know to reel it back a little bit.
A racehorse was meant to race, Right. And I think life for me feels good when there's tension, right? When we're not just all lopsided into one thing. There is a tension and a give and take back and forth between whether that's growth and development and family or what. But that healthy tension, I think, makes me feel purpose-filled.
Yeah, a little pressure would be good if you live it too easy.
I think something that I've enjoyed about getting to know you, and like obviously our friendship, but you're also an advisor for Left Main, which has been amazing, and a partner of Left Main. We use batch data for one of our major products. Yeah. One of the things I've enjoyed about working with you, kind of on the personal side, is your forward vision. I feel like, and I don't know that I ever told you this, so I will tell you on camera. I feel like you're able to see way further down the line than I can see, because you've done the exit and you've had a lot of that pain, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know that, I hope that you give yourself some credit for that too, but that's a huge value of being able to talk to somebody who can see like a year or two ahead. I'm sure you felt like super close, like the tight knuckle on the wheel when you were first growing your first company and trying to figure out software sales and all this stuff on top of everything else. And it's such a breath of fresh air to have advisors around me that like have done this before and can say like, I can't, like every single advisor meeting, you're like, yeah, don't do that, because 2 years from now, you're going to hate that you did that. Or like, do this now, because when you talk about this in 5 years for an exit, like they're going to care about X, right? Yeah. I think that's super, super valuable. And I'm sure you bring that same insight into the second company and third company, and probably a little bit more like emotional stability, having had some like scar tissue and some, I don't know, have seen some stuff before, and maybe things feel a little less crazy. I don't know. Do you feel like you can handle the stress a little bit better? Yeah.
I mean, when you are going through an exit and lose a child, there's nothing that could like test you more than that.
Talk about real life, and I think the only way you really get through that is with each other.
For sure. Now everything, it's just perspective's different. And I also just have I have the financial means to literally do what I want. I just have to want to go do it and be passionate about it. So now I don't stress out about the small stuff. And I ask myself, what's the worst thing that could happen here? It's everything's just a learning lesson. And, me and Erin were really focused when going through everything was our own like glass half full. And that's just how I look at business and everything, as well as I just, what can you learn from this? What did you take out of it? And then, push on and try and get a little bit better for the next day. And that's kind of really how I've been for a long time. And it's done quite well for me. But Stephanie, I want to kind of pivot back to what you were talking about a little bit. Is I wish I did have more advisors like you did, because like I didn't ask for the help and I didn't raise the money to where people have, financial interest in what you're doing. That's like, because I've kind of, bootstrapping versus raising, like you've done a really good job on like bringing people into your world to help you not have to go through the shit that I went through and mistakes that I made. So like, I don't know if I've told you this, but like, I wish I have done more of the networking, looking for people to help me that haven't yet, or that are further along than I am. I haven't been great at that. I've really just poured into people that I could help, but I think I would be further along too if I had found some more of those mentors, which we did find through some consulting that mentored us as we're really getting into the software and learning how to set everything up. But like the level of mentors and people that you have on your boards and stuff, I didn't have that type of talent helping me and advising me. So like I'm definitely jealous of kind of the team that you put around you to really set you up for hopefully a really great exit, in the next handful of years.
I appreciate that. I feel like this is a journey of pretty intense humility. Like there's also so much that I don't know and need help with. I hate feeling like a dumbass. I hate it. I hate not knowing the answer. Ask Zach. I love the answer. I love knowing the answer. I love winning the race. And I think I got to a point where I really hit my own personal ceiling. And it was right around the middle of all kinds of difficult things in my personal life too. Like my mom getting a terminal cancer diagnosis and having a company that's like, we're bootstrapped, but like capped. I'm like, I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to get it past here. We're stuck,
Yeah.
And then trying to figure out like, if I'm stuck, is it me? Is it like, am I failing? And like, why? What am I missing? And then like, kind of like you hinted at, like when you have this personal thing that's just feels so big, it's really hard to think clearly. And I felt like if I don't get myself in front of different people or like in different rooms, I'm going to quit because this is just so hard. It sucks to be stuck. And then it sucks to be trying to wrestle like the personal life. Right. And of course, like the family and the busyness of the family, but then also this like pretty catastrophic diagnosis.
Yeah.
And knowing what the next 6 to 12 months was going to look like, I felt like I had to do it,
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's easy to look at other people's lives and assume that everything's going smooth and it's just so easy for everybody else. But like, as you guys have both talked about, like real shit happens, like personal life, people just get hit and there's never an opportune time for it, right? Like the worst things in life could hit you in the worst times for business and kind of vice versa. We talk about regulation disruption with the wholesaling and with texting and like, with your, with Batch to be like, hey, we're moving along, and then have some sort of regulation come and smack you in the face to like change things up, and how to keep the personal life from overtaking the business, where the business has got to shut down, and vice versa. Business disruption like that, it's hard. Stephanie said earlier, it's a family business because it's so intertwined, right? To not take that stress and anxiety and uncertainty from business back into disrupting the house. You guys have kind of dealt with that. Like, do you have words of wisdom for people that are trying to just get through life and continue to grow both?
Yeah, if you're an entrepreneur, there's seasons where you're gonna have to dig deep. Like when the texting regulations changed and the interest rates went up. I mean, we lost $10 million of revenue like that we're seeing in a year like that.
Wow.
And we were overstaffed at that time too. We thought more employees meant more money. We made some pretty catastrophic mistakes that we put ourselves in that position and we had to dig ourselves, out of that hole. Some of it was out of our control. Some of it was being naive about, growing a big business and feeling invincible, just because of, the market and, how wild real estate investing went. I mean, we went from $0 to $40 million in top line revenue in less than 3 years. So it was wild. And then, by the time we sold, it cut in half to 20. So I've got to see all sides. Me, Annie, and Evo did not take home a paycheck for 18 months. Like didn't draw out of the company. So we just kept as many people as we could and tried to sell our way out of it. And, we did have to lay some people off eventually to right size for kind of the shift in revenue. But, we had to keep talented people there because we knew it was going to hit a bottom and then we're going to start going back up. And when that happened, and the company still being positioned in a good place and being able to tell a story to PropStream on why the revenue dipped. And I was like, well, the texting happened. And this is like, I literally had all the data breaking it down. And I'm like, and this is our path to growing again. And they're like, okay, we want to buy you. If we just hollowed out the company and only thought about profits at that time, I don't think we would have sold the business, to be honest with you.
I think that the story is extremely, extremely important. Like, first of all, the why of why you built the business for sure, but like really communicating where you're going and what you believe for this company and how you're going to get there, I think is probably one of the most important skill sets that you can have as a CEO or a leader. You have to be able to get people on board to that vision, and then of course support it with the actions that you're doing. Like to your point, if you're building a valuable company, you're not gutting it. You're like you're withstanding the storm. You know what I mean?
You have to.
The story is so huge. What I want to dig into this point a little bit more because I feel like there's always an excuse, but a reality of the markets are hard and markets change, but that's not necessarily what takes us out. I think that there's a lot that we have in our control. Talk to us a little bit about what you did through that. Like the market changed and you're like, okay, we made some mistakes. Some of them were catastrophic. Like, what was it that you still had control over that then you were able to leverage?
So what I think me, Annie, and Evo did fantastic, even put ourselves in the position not to draw is I said we went from 0 to 40 million, quickly. We made a lot of money because we were understaffed early. So like we were taking home money I never thought I'd make. And the three of us were very smart and very savvy to where we didn't go, didn't go fuck our money off, quite honestly. And we saved it, we invested it, and all of us did not bloat our lifestyles to where we could. The only reason why we were able to do what we did is we each had passive money exceeding our monthly nut. And that is the only reason why we're able to sustain that is because we were so good and so disciplined and obviously had made money beforehand, but we did not let lifestyle creep affect us to where we're taking private jets everywhere. And, me and Evo did buy some Lamborghinis and so on and so forth. But, those aren't for the type of money we're making. That was 1 month for me at that point to where it didn't even matter. And I was so happy that I ended up, not going and buying a $5-10 million house and had to have a mortgage on it. And then having that lifestyle creep to where you do have 50-60 grand a month that you have to make to cover your bills. We all put it into like private credit, real estate syndications. We invested with you, Stephanie. And we were in a position to where, thank God all three of us, because like if one of the partners just wanted to say we need to draw money, like that's what our operating agreement said. So like I'm just very lucky to have great partners that have very similar values to us, to me. So we were able to do something like that because I feel like not a lot of people, it was literally, I think it was like 20 months, if you want the truth. Like we did not draw a dollar out of any batch company for 20 months.
Yeah, I think that's such an important story for people to hear because let's face it, money is all relative, whether it's a jet or whether it's a Lambo or whether it's an expensive watch, right? It's relative, like you said, to the income and money that you have. but the principle of discipline is what's really critical, right? The principle to lifestyle creep, because this can happen to somebody that's making $30,000 a year and all of a sudden makes 60, or from $3 million a year to $6 million a year. The principle of lifestyle creep is critical. I tell a story. When we first got together, I got my first full-time job at like $15 an hour. And I was like, baby, quit your job. Like
I got you.
we don't get to see each other anymore. I got to work nights. Like, quit your job so I could just work on my $15 an hour and like, and we'll still be able to see each other. And to see our own lifestyle creep from $15 an hour to 30 to both having an income, like, it is a real thing. And so I think in the social media world, it's easy to be like, well, he bought a Lambo, so I could buy a Lambo. Like, you don't know what his monthly nut is. You don't know what his monthly income is. To compare the two, you really have to be disciplined to looking at what your own income is. What's the most likelihood of this continuing? And like you're saying, do I have the runway to be able to weather a storm and not have to make a bad decision? Like you said, gutting the company. This could happen in any company. It could happen in wholesale world or fix and flip world. Flips start to go down. New build construction goes down. Fire the whole team. Like, well, how the hell are you going to build back if you get rid of all of this education and stuff that you've given into? So being able to ride through the storm, because I think with entrepreneurship, the storm is coming. If it's not there, it's going to come, right? As you're doing any sort of business, right? Today, I mean, you're in the storm, but like
the whole thing is a storm.
Right. We all have these ups and downs. A storm will hit you if you think you're having a great day today.
When you're doing well, you're not as good as you think you are. And when you're doing bad, you're not as bad as you think you're doing either. So that's such a good kind of in the middle. It's like sometimes they're just good market conditions and it's the right place, the right time, and you're going to print money. And what I've learned is at that time, you save that, you invest it, and you don't let that lifestyle creep, because you need to, especially if you're growing something big, like you don't want to have to worry about money and finances and making sure that you cover your bills with the money, because stuff could shift, a lot could change, you could get sued. Like, you need to be in a good place to where you could do what's best for the company, not what's best for you financially. And if you stack up enough soldiers to be on your side when you need to go to war, you're going to be in a good place and you're going to be able to make sound decisions instead of making decisions out of fear.
Right now, what's kind of your discipline in the home? Like how many months runway do you like to keep in your bank for your personal life and for business? Do you kind of have a minimum that you feel comfortable with?
I mean, I have a $3,500 mortgage on a $4 million house. So
it's good terms.
And you also said that you have like passive income, right? You have passive investments.
Actually, I did, because when we shifted, I shifted a bunch of my money into hard money and private credit, so I could get recurring cash flow every month, and I was getting about 40 grand a month from that. And then once we sold batch leads, batch data had to get profitable. So that's a whole nother story in itself that we had to dig ourselves out of right when we sold. And then now with the new venture, I have active income. So now I pulled all that passive income and started diverting it to better investments that I could get better returns on, because I don't need that passive income right now. Now, if I need that passive income again, or something would change, I would shift it back over to there and do that. But knowing that I have millions upon millions of dollars to make sure that if that were to happen, I can move it over and all my bills are covered, I'm in a good place. So I'm just kind of manipulating my money depending on the season I'm in. I needed a bunch of money to cover my bills, so I shifted my investments to that. Now that I don't need money and I'm taking home some good active income again, I've kind of put those soldiers onto different use to where I can make a bigger return than what I was making with hard money.
Yeah. What about on the business side? Do you try to keep like 6-12 months worth of runway there for operating expenses, or are you just still catching up from the cash flow perspective?
What would we do? I mean, it was so predictable with the SaaS that we had. It was like 3 months. Like, we also could fund the company if we needed to, because we all have the money to do that. But that's a little bit different. These are at one point we'd have like 6 to 12 months in, like when we're first getting started, just to make sure, and we're growing and just investing so much money back into the business. But now Annie has it down to, I don't even know, to be honest with you. Annie's just like, this is what you're allowed to draw this month, and we're good. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't even ask her.
You got to have guardrails. Yeah. Annie's the guardrail, and she's amazing.
and she's the one that didn't let us draw for 20 months. She's like, money is not predictable. We had millions of dollars in the account, but she's like, if it goes down 6 months in a row, we need to have our war chest. So she had a pretty big reserve set, and that's number one thing to her was, we're hitting payroll. I don't want us to have to fund the company, and we don't want employees ever to have to worry about, payroll being a problem. So she always kept a lot of money in there. I couldn't tell you, that's not my part. That's not my job. That's her job. So,
Yeah.
but I know it was a significant amount when we had all the products. Cause I mean, it cost us it was like a $1.5 million a month just to cover our nut or something like that with all that stuff. So it was expensive.
I think that some of the worst advice that I hear parroted all over social media is like, I could be making an ROI with that savings account. And then they don't have a savings account for when anything awry, right? They're like, everyone's trying to deploy every dollar that they can to get an ROI in a very unstable business or an unpredictable business. It sets you up for making desperate decisions, which I think you nailed it. The key here is sustainability and to be able to weather storms when they come. And you have to put yourself in the position to do that and not make super unnatural decisions, which is much easier said than done.
Yeah. I think being a business owner and being successful, the biggest thing you could do is try to delay that gratification on the lifestyle creep. Cause you just see it on social media. I'll see someone that's maybe worth $500,000, $2 million, and they have a 6-figure watch and a 6-figure car. And I'm like, dude, you haven't even started to build your wealth yet. And I know a lot of people are doing it to try and sell coaching or whatever. So you could call it a marketing expense, but in social media, there's ebbs and flows of how you're going to be hot or not. And when people are really going to be vibing with what you have to say. And it's funny to see how people portray and spend money and treat wealth, especially this younger generation. They're really good at making it, but I haven't seen them be really great at saving it.
I think keeping it is the tricky part. That's the part that requires some discipline and some planning and, being able to pivot a little bit depending on where you're at in your personal life or your active income life versus your passive income life. Like you were saying, you've got to manage your family office.
And I have a fractional family office that helps me do that, that I pay.
You do?
Of course. I've had for 5 years.
Okay. I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you're ready, let me know. They're fantastic.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day I'll be a baller like you guys. Dye my hair pink and just,
Yeah, that's
both of you do. I see Erin, you too. You have a little color. I love it.
Yeah, she has.
You copy me.
Yeah, I copied her. She has some pink.
I always have a color here.
Yeah, this is the least amount of color I've seen on her in a while. She's normally a little brighter.
All I have is gray. You can't quite see it in this camera.
I have those too, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cover with blue.
There we go.
There you go. I like that. It's much cuter than gray.
Well, so in here, one of the things that I always try to get on is who's in charge, right? I talk about the idea of who does it take to become in charge. You started as Jesse as a wholesaler, small operation, scaled batch. Did you guys have hundreds of employees?
250 at one point.
250, and so I'm assuming that you've had to change as a leader from there to, what have some of those leadership changes been that you've noticed? And Erin, what have you noticed from your perspective as well as he's changed over this crazy growth in a short period of time?
You go first, honey.
I go first.
Yeah.
I mean, for you, I think it's very different. Before you go office, you were 10 people, you have Rob and the wholesale. And then now become a corporate office. You gotta watch your mouth. When you speak to employees, you cannot cuss around or stuff like that because of an HR problem. So that's the thing. Because I used to manage, 50 plus employees. I can never say what I want on my mind, even though you're a freaking idiot. I'm not coming here to hurt you every day. But because of corporate world, you gotta be professional and then you gotta be nice and soft. So that's the changes. You gotta scale back a little bit. You gotta be too comfortable. Guys still can run the office about whatever.
Yeah, that was one big part of it.
Yeah.
The other big part for me was I really wanted to be an example to the people that were on our team. And that part of that is where I told people to be the best versions of themselves and work hard. And, here's all the things we could do to, accomplish things. And as you said, Stephanie, to have like a North Star to get people to. And I feel
Yeah.
like I worked my butt off, but like I was so undisciplined in the health and fitness side of my life. I really wanted to be that example. And I went on a long journey to, to get into really good shape. And that ended up getting me to not even drink anymore at all. And like, I really feel like I could be an example for not just entrepreneurs, but for, people that are on my team of doing the right thing, caring about people, and really trying to just get a little bit better every day. And it's not necessarily in the professional or the personal, it's both. And, when I'm having one of those days where I don't want to do something, I'm like, what would you tell this person if they didn't want to work out today? I'm like, all right, let's go. It's just, I really try to talk it like I walk it. And that's been a huge like shifting point for me. And I think it's made me just a way better person. And then going through all the stuff I had to go through last year personally with Erin, I think it just gave me a perspective of understanding when people are going through something really hard, with death, their family, or loss of someone, understanding the like mental bandwidth that actually takes up from you. And I was very lucky to have Annie and Evo to where, when we were going through everything with Zara, the only thing I did work on was the, selling the company, which was still a task in itself. But like, I was not working for 6 months, like in the day-to-day at all. Like I wasn't a part of any of the meetings. I would check in, occasionally, and, I can't not know what's going on, but I really took a step back to focus on her with Erin, because it took everything we had to, all of our energy to deal with that situation, I guess.
That support system is so critical. And we want to set that up in our on our teams, right? Well, from a partnerships perspective, but then also from the department perspective. Like, we need each other. This is a company of people. This is a family of people, and we need each other,
Yeah, I'm just grateful. We had great people, not just the owners, but the leaders and executives understood what I was going through. And there's Preston, and who's no longer works with us, and Matt. They're two guys that, like, me leaving put more onto their plates, and they were happy to take on some of those responsibilities, knowing what I was going through. So it's just, when you have the right people, it makes it easier when you're going through some tough shit, for sure.
Yeah. Obviously, I haven't seen the transformation you've gone through in the last 10 years. I'm sure it has been very transformative, but I think you're a very clear thinker, and super steady on what's important, and what people actually need to worry about, and how to build for longevity. I've really enjoyed that from getting to know you these last couple of years. And, I can only imagine that you bring that to the table at home and at Batch.
Yeah. And like, I can't do any of this without like my wife and my parents and all the people that help me. Like, my mom meal preps all my meals for me, like all of them every day, so I could like have the right food and
Way
the
to
right
go,
package.
Mom. That's amazing.
And Erin just, doing everything with Zayden, and knowing when I've had a long day, she'll literally take him to like a park so I could have a half-hour break to decompress. She like just knows what to do. So then I'm not wanting to pay attention, to our son. And just having all the people there to really let me try to be the best version of myself and the best I can to them. Like, it all works together. And I'm so grateful. And, for everyone in my life that, supports me, from, my partners to my wife to, my family and all my friends. Like, very grateful and have a lot of gratitude, because, surrounding myself with the right people has absolutely changed my life.
I love that.
I think it either highlights the cracks in your personal life, or it makes you cling to the important people in your life, this journey that we're in, and I think when you understand the impact of that, you cling to each other and the value that you have in your own marriage and your own family, like, even more, right? Like, there'll be nothing that will come to threaten this, because this is what is the most important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you keep that as just the principle, right? That you guys are the foundation to all that happens, and that nothing happens without support from so many different people. I think there's people out there that think they just have to make it on their own, and like the support that it takes, that you could be for others and that other could be for you to be able to push yourselves forward. I want to make sure So sometimes people exit and then they just peace out. But that's not Jesse. Jesse says, I'm going to exit, and what can I do next? Starting new ventures. I want to give you a chance on the platform. If there's anything you want to bring people to, if they how to find you, how to find your new ventures, and support you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty active on social again. I've got pink hair, so you won't miss me. And no, batch data. That's where we really serve property data to real estate tech companies, home service companies, some pretty sophisticated real estate investors, and big B2B marketing companies. I mean, let's just say that prime delivery on your door, we work with them as well. And we have a lot of different use cases on that side. And then on the life insurance, if you're W-2 and looking to get in, kind of owning your own first business, and it's really a sales job, and then you're kind of building a little team alongside you. If that's something you're interested in, that link is in my bio on Instagram. But those are the best
What's
two
your
ways.
handle?
Just my first and last name, Jesse Burrell.
Okay.
So, and then, my wife doesn't accept anyone. Her Instagram's private.
Yeah, go.
Leave me alone.
I have no
I'm
followers.
gonna send you a request. Do I get an exception?
Sure.
You're still my play date highlight.
She'll be like, who's this? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus, honey.
I love it. It's been a pleasure having you both on, getting to know you both a little bit more, and kind of hearing your story a little bit about the behind the scenes. Thank you so much for kind of sharing that. I think such a valuable lessons for us all to kind of take away from here.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much. This was super fun. The future is bright, and lots of cool things that we can do together, which I'm excited about. And with what you're building, I think is something to take note of, both of you. So thanks again for joining us. This is awesome.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it. Thank you.